Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah Ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Verily, we have tried those people who came before you, so that Allah will know and distinguish between those who are truthful and those who are lying. This particular ayat talks about one of the wisdoms behind trials and tribulations is fitna, that Allah Ta'ala gives people trials in order to make a tamhis, to sift through, and he already knows who's true in his claim and who is just making, baseless claims. So if you say that you believe, do you think you're going to be left without being tested? I want to address the Afrocentric brothers in the Muslim community, the black nationalists, and I am one of them. But I'm a black nationalist who is passionate and proud of my heritage. I'm proud about my melanated skin. I'm proud about aspects of my history, and I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm not trying to be an Arab. I'm not trying to be Pakistani. I'm not taking on another people's identity because I embraced Islam. I've seen African Americans who've made that mistake. I've even seen African Americans when I became a Muslim at the age of 22 who were speaking broken English with the bobblehead, as some of our brothers speak who come from Pakistan and from that area, our Asian brothers. As it relates to the deen, there is a famous African American influencer who was born and raised in Philadelphia. He has a Muslim name, Dr. Fulan. I don't want to mention his name because I don't want to make him more popular and give him traction. When I used to listen to this man's points of views, some of them I accepted, but most of it I rejected. I didn't think it was balanced. I used to give him the benefit of doubt, and I would say he was a Muslim until I pronounced takfir on him based upon what he said. He says things that excommunicate him from the religion. He said things that if you say and believe those things, you've apostated, you're murtad. I say that man is outside of the fold of Islam based upon his beliefs and based upon his kalam. Recently, he chimed into and he gave his opinion concerning the problem in Palestine. This recent drama, this fitna that has made the inkishaf of many realities. Palestine, this problem, it has exposed and uncovered the reality of Western politicians, Western civilization, the reality of these people who have doubled down for their unbridled, unconditional support for the apartheid state of Israel. It made it clear. So if you had any doubt as to how your politicians look at Islam and Muslims, then be in no doubt. The media and the lopsided one way of the way things are being reported. It's just amazing. So anyway, this fitna has the ability, and it has had the ability to expose people's reality. So one of the things that has happened is this particular person said, as a black nationalist, there are problems that are going on in Africa. And he gave as an example in Sudan, those are Muslims who are being put to the test. He gave an example of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC. Their land is being usurped. Their treasures and riches are being stolen and usurped from their land so that Europeans can make a come up and benefit from all of those minerals that they have. He also mentioned Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a country that's run by Christians, but they've been oppressing Muslims for many, many years. So the person has actually given an example of 3 African countries, 2 of which have a large Muslim population for the most part. And to his credit, he also said that he doesn't want any harm to come to Palestinian children, men and women who are being oppressed. He said, but leave me from those Arabs. I'm more interested in what's going on with black people. I don't care. He didn't say he doesn't care. He said, I'm not so much concerned about the yellow man or the brown man. I'm concerned about the black man. So many of our young, unsuspecting brothers and sisters and some of the people who are Afrocentric with no filters, they listen to this guidance and in reality it's misguidance. It's not from our religion. There was a group that the Arabs started called the Ba'athi Party, the Ba'athi. They are widespread in Syria and then Iraq. They're a group of people who believe in Arab nationalism, like Afrocentrism, African nationalism. They believe in Arab nationalism. And part of their ethos and their aqidah and theology is, if you are an Arab, you're better than everyone else who's not Arab. Even if you're a Jew, if you're a Christian, just if you're Arab, you're better than the Muslim who is not Arab. And that's not our religion. Allah mentioned in the Quran, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The best of you in the sight of Allah is the one who has the most deen, the most taqwa. Allah created us nation and tribe so that we would know each other. The hadith said that Allah doesn't look at your colors. Allah doesn't look at your shapes. Allah doesn't look at your money. Allah looks at your heart. What do you believe in? And your niyat. And he looks at your actions. So as a Muslim, I want to make it clear. What should I do? Abu Usamah, who is a proud, passionate African American. I'm Afrocentric. I'm a black nationalist, but I have filters. What do I do in this issue with this man's statements? Do I put the problems of Africans over the Palestinian issue? La wallahi. La wallahi. Unless, as an African, it's my mother or my father or someone directly connected to me who's being killed. Now, in that case, I have to focus on my house first. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the sadaqah that you spend, the dinar that you spend in sadaqah, and you spend it fi sabilillah. The dinar that you spend and you free a slave during that time. The dinar that you spend and you're trying to help a miskin. The dinar that you spend upon your family. He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a'zamuha ajra. Dinar anfaqta ala ahlik. The most heaviest, best, virtuous sadaqah that you gave in this case is the sadaqah that you gave for your family. Sadaqah begins first. So if something was happening to my mother, my father, someone directly connected to me, Islam didn't tell me to look somewhere else. I have to look at my own situation first. But generally speaking, do I put Africa over Palestine and Palestinians or Muslims? La wallahi. What's the proof? I told you we have to have filters. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-Islam ya'la wa la yu'la alayhi. Al-Islam goes over everything. Islam takes precedence. Al-Islam is in the forefront and nothing comes before Islam. Nothing goes over Islam. So any superlative, any adjective that I want to use to describe myself, the single most important one is I'm a Muslim who's African American, who happens to be a bus driver, who happens to be a muhandis, who happens to be a lawyer, who happens to be a carpenter, who happens to be an intellectual. I'm a Muslim first and foremost. That's our religion. And in the deen of al-Islam, I have to love what Allah loves. And I have to love what his prophet loves, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah loves the city of Mecca, first and foremost. And then he made the city of Medina, the most virtuous city. And then the third Muslim city or city in our theology is Baitul Maqdis. So the people in that area, Palestine, the Palestinian Muslims are closer to me than non-Muslims who are from African descent. And that's something that is a no-brainer for the one who has filters. Lastly, what do I do, Abu Usamah, if my family came against me? You know, I said my mother, I have to worry about her first, my father, my relatives. What do I do if my immediate family and my distant family came against me to harm al-Islam, to fight against Islam and the Muslims? Or if the whole African continent or any country in Africa came against al-Islam to fight them, what should be my position? Should I side with the Africans? Should I side with the Muslims? Hands down, it's clear. As a Muslim with filters, I'm going to side with the Muslims against my parents, who are now Muslims, against the whole continent of Africa, who are now Muslims. And that's because I believe in the Quran. And that's because I believe in the Sunnah. And you can't escape that. Either you take the Kitab or the Sunnah, or you take your emotions and you judge based upon your emotions. Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, لا تجد قوم يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله ولو كانوا آباءهم أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم أو عشيرتهم. You will not find a group of people who believe in Allah in the last day, showing love towards those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger. You won't find a group of people believing Allah and His Messenger giving them love, even if they were their fathers, even if they were their sons, even if they were their brothers, even if they were their tribesmen. They were their group of people. That's our deen. So we categorically reject the da'wah and the aqeedah of the Ba'athis, and we reject categorically this thing about black comes first over Islam. People who are Afrocentric Muslims, I heard them saying, Fir'aun is my man. Fir'aun is our brother. A'udhu billah. The believers who were Jews with Musa, and they believed they're closer to me than Africans who are non-Muslims. The Christians who believed in Isa, and they believed they're closer to me than people, they're my brothers, as opposed to people who are black who are not believers in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or His prophets and messengers. Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'in. So you brothers and sisters, beware of these social media influences, and learn your deen. Learn your deen. You brothers who are African, Afrocentric, black nationalists, no problem. Be proud of who you are and where we come from. And the melanation in our skin, that's from the wisdom of Al-Khaliq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But know your deen and have filters. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.